with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like life, I'll rise.
I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless.
And welcome to the Black NewsBeat with your host, Dr. Kimeka Campbell.
Well. Welcome to the Black NewsBeat, everybody. Great to have you here again. We are back with another amazing episode, and my favorite thing that's happening tonight is we have 4 more candidates for City Council. So I'm so excited about that. So let's start by grounding ourselves in the moment. April is National Poetry Month. Did you guys know that? If you did not know that, every April is National Poetry Month, and I have been writing poetry for my whole life. So I put up a little poem, one line that I want you to check out. And if you're a poet too, send me your poetry. I would love to read it. I'd love to post it. But April is National Poetry Month, so I hope it's already the end of April. Can you believe that? And guess what's happening on Friday? Anybody know? It's my birthday. So I'll be celebrating. I have a whole weekend planned. So if you want to hang out with me, you can meet me at Karma. I'm doing all Harrisburg things because that's what I do. So if you want to meet me at Karma on Friday night, we're doing a little VIP. Okay. If you want to meet me at Cote Rouge on Saturday at 1:30, we're going to do a little brunch, a little late brunch, because we're going to be hanging out at Karma the night before. Okay. And then if you want to meet me at High Dive on Saturday night, please feel free to do so as well. And if you want to do any of that, just message me. We'll definitely have some more folks. We have about 12 people coming right now. I can always take an RSVP to celebrate my 44th birthday. I'm going into my Obama year. So I'm very excited about that. Today, so I also like to talk about the National Day, National Month, but it is also a very important national day. Today is National Book Day, which I think goes hand in hand, yes, with National Poetry Month, because you find a lot of poetry in books. And one of my favorite books is We Real Cool by Nikki Giovanni, and that is a book of amazing poems by Nikki Giovanni. So you should definitely check that out. I have had a lot of finding, like I found myself in books, right? Find myself, find the world. So I definitely think that you should definitely check out that book, We Real Cool. And if you know any other great poets, Bell Hooks, Elizabeth Alexander, and other Black women poets, definitely celebrate them. April is also, February is Black History Month. March is Women's History Month. And then April is also Black Women's History Month, okay? So definitely you have a lot to celebrate for the last week in April. Don't forget all of that, okay? And tonight's show is packed with a lot of things. So we got a lot to cover tonight. We're going to be raising awareness. We're going to be hearing from candidates. We're going to be, looking at what's in the news and everything like that. So once you hear their names, please go ahead and give it up for our guest tonight. First up, and she'll come right after the break, we have City Councilwoman Ausha Green. We also have a first-time contender for running for City Council, Mr. Rick Sanders. We are supposed to have Lisa Glenn, but she's not here yet. Lisa, where you at? Okay, where you at, Lisa? Lisa! Yeah, let's find Lisa. Okay, and then last but definitely not least, my friend, Mr. Robert Lawson is here as well. So we're very excited about having our guests. But first, we've got some stories to break down, and we have some culture to celebrate. So let's sweep these streets. Let's see what's going around the nation and here in Harrisburg too. So we're going to keep it short and sweet because we have a lot to cover, okay? So the first thing that we have to cover is Pope Francis passed on, y'all. He made it to the other side. And what's really interesting about this Pope, he's a very progressive Pope. He had so many great stances on LGBT, on serving Black and brown people, how to really serve, how to have compassion. But honey, it is rumored that he died a few hours after meeting with J.D. Vance. So let's start with a moment that's both historic and haunting. On Easter Sunday, no less, Vice President J.D. Vance met briefly with the Pope and at the Vatican. Just hours later, the Pope passed away at 88 from a stroke. So did J.D. Vance give him a stroke? Well, that's the rumor I'm gonna start. Okay. Vance, a Catholic convert, described the meeting as a great blessing, while many noted the contrast between the Pope's inclusive vision and Vance's nationalistic rhetoric. The timing of this meeting has sparked conversations about the intersection of faith and politics. So tell me your thoughts online and in the room. Tell me your thoughts on this poignant moment. We wish the Pope's family and the other folks well. We know there's been a lot of controversy around the Catholic Church. And the Pope was a bright spot and a lot of mess. So there's a lot to be said. But if you have comments and you have things that you're thinking about, please go ahead and let us know. And our next story is tariffs on, tariffs off. Trump's trade whiplash. Okay, who's been following the tariff news? Yeah, it's been a lot going on. 1 minute is a tariff, 1 minute penguins are getting tariffs, the next minute the Saharas are getting nobody knows. So President Donald Trump has reinstated. Can you believe we have to say President Donald Trump again? That's another thing we got to deal with. Has it been 100 days yet? It hasn't even been 100 days. It feels like a million years. I think they just hit 90 days, and it's going to be 100 days in a few days. But it's been a lot going on. So President Donald Trump has reinstated sweeping tariffs on Chinese goods, citing national security concerns. However, the abrupt policy shifts have left economists and businesses scrambling. Even the economists, did you hear this story? I think we talked about it a little bit before. The economists who were supposed to be putting together this tariffs whole framework, they advised very differently. And allegedly, the White House administration went to ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to put together a tariff plan. I swear to God, this is the real thing. And so the tariff plan that you see that has been rolled, because Trump wanted bigger numbers. If you ever see Josh Johnson, go look at it tonight, his segment on this. So Trump wanted big numbers, and because he didn't get the big numbers that he wanted, they were like 2% tariffs, 1%, 4%, 2.5%. He didn't like those numbers. 10%, 34, 94. Those are bigger numbers, right? Nobody knows what they mean in reality, except now people are feeling the burn. We've got people right here in the Commonwealth and in the Northeast where we are feeling the tariff burn, right? They're feeling the one man, he bought goods from overseas and was hit with a $2,000 tariff bill. And he's like, well, I can't do this. $2,000 on top of the cost of the goods that I have to get to run my business. And folks are feeling the pinch. And folks who voted for Donald Trump are feeling the pinch. So that's interesting. The administration's inconsistent trade policies are causing uncertainty in global markets. Critics argue that this volatility undermines economic stability and erodes international trust. As these developments unfold, how do you think they will impact the economy and global relations? You think it's going to be good for global relations? No. You think it's going to be bad for global relations? Yeah. Probably it's not looking good so far. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much right now. So let's talk about right here in our own backyards. Our governor's residence was recently attacked. For the last time we talked till now on Passover, the first day of Passover, actually, the governor's mansion was literally firebombed. And it has reopened though following this arson attack on the first night of Passover. Governor Josh Shapiro and his family were present during the incident, but they were unharmed. And so many outlets have reported on this. And so what was interesting about this was the suspect, Cody Balmer, allegedly targeted the residents due to political motivations and has been charged with arson. The authorities are reviewing the security protocol to prevent further incidents. Now, security protocol is interesting in this case because the main worry for so many people about where the governor's mansion was because it was in a bad neighborhood. They were very concerned. All these years, they've been concerned that the governor's mansion is bad. There's a big ass gate that covers the governor's mansion, and they were very nervous that the bad neighborhood people around the mansion were going to do something to it. Well, guess where this guy came from? Canberra. He came from Canberra to throw a Molotov cocktail into the governor's mansion. So no, the Negroes around the mansion were not the problem. They were never the problem. In Canberra. Okay. So, moving on to my favorite segment, which is movies and melanin. There is only one thing I want to talk about tonight. So, if it's spoilers, close your ears because we are talking about Sinners tonight. Who has seen Sinners? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep, close your ear. I see Ausha Green is closing her ears like a very smart person. Okay. Let's talk about the film. I'm not going to give too much away, but if you don't want to hear anything about it, I'm gonna say it again. Close your ears. I watched it. Okay. Let's talk about the film everyone's buzzing about, Sinners, the latest from director Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan. Okay, very hot in there in dual roles of this Southern Gothic horror musical. Southern Gothic horror musical. Do you hear that? Because it does everything with that. It does everything. Has captivated audiences with its blend of supernatural elements and social commentary. Set in 1930s Mississippi, the film explores the themes of family, redemption, and the haunting legacy of the past. With a powerful score by Ludwig, oh Lord, don't get me lying, Göransson, Sinners has grossed nearly $80 million worldwide since its release on April 18th. Have you seen Sinners yet? Yes. What are we giving it? We're giving it 10. 10 across the board. 10 out of 10 for me. It was 11 out of 10 for me because of one person in particular, and that's One Me. One Me, Womi M. We'll call her Womi M. She played Annie in the movie, and she is phenomenal. She is the glue that holds this movie together. You've seen her in Lovecraft Country. You've also seen her in Loki. You've seen her in what's the other one? What else is she in? Wolverine. She's in a couple other things. So One Me holds the entire cast together. You should definitely go see this movie. Everyone is raving about a certain scene in that movie, and you will know it when you see it. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. I don't want to give it away. Going on. Let's talk about what we always talk about here is there's nothing to do in Harrisburg. We named this segment as I know exactly what. We named this section as such because people always tell us there's nothing to do in Harrisburg when we know it's not true. So we dedicate a few minutes to telling you what there is to do in the region. And if you're from a small town and a small city like Harrisburg and people are saying that, make it your business to create culture and community in your city. Okay, that's what we do here with the Black NewsBeat and with Young Professionals of Color Greater Harrisburg. And Young Professionals of Color, Black NewsBeat is actually a joint program between Young Professionals of Color and Open Stage, where we are tonight. Give it up for Open Stage. It is the time is going down. Okay, the first thing that you want to keep in mind is we only have 50-something days until Juneteenth, y'all. 52 days until Juneteenth, and this year we have our first ever parade. We are doing a Juneteenth parade. We already have about 30 folks signed up. We need to get to about 60, and I think we're going to get there because people are really excited. All nonprofits are free. The only folks we're charging are for-profit businesses, entertainment. Local entertainment free, nonprofits free. We want you to come and be a part of this wonderful celebration. We're going to have a wonderful time in the city. So we're so excited about that. And that kicks off the week. We have our tailgate, our Vibe Check tailgate before the Kendrick Lamar concert in Hershey. We also have our press conference in the Capitol Rotunda at the Pennsylvania State Capitol. Wednesday, we have our 4th or 5th annual conference. And we are going to be hosting Al Green, Mike Eric Dyson, and Corey Minor Smith. We're really excited about that. On Thursday, we're going to have our Jubilee in Soldiers Grove. Juneteenth Jubilee is going to be in Soldiers Grove this year. On Friday, we're going to have Pace of Black Harrisburg at our Juneteenth Soma. And then Saturday is going to be our concert at HMAC. So and shout out to Yanni, our chair. She's here for the concert. We are at HVAC this year because we want to have the whole building to ourselves and really have a great time. So we're very excited about the possibilities of what is going to be at HMAC and all throughout the whole week. So definitely come join us. And last Thursday of every month, the Young Professionals of Color Greater Harrisburg has happy hour. So please join us one Thursday. We're going to be at Collab Create. They're at 110. Oh, don't get me lying. They're at Collab Create on Instagram, but it's in the city of Harrisburg. And we are going to be chopping it up from 5 to 7 for happy hour. Definitely join us. Don't sit with this one out. You're going to come. It's April, so you got to come learn all about the great things that are happening. Visit a business. You know, we use these happy hours to highlight our businesses in the city. Woo, we made it through the first segment. How do you feel? So we are cruising. I want to definitely give enough time to our candidates. These are my favorite shows for the year. It's our candidate sessions with the candidates. So give us a sec. We'll be right back with our first candidate, and we'll see you soon. We'll be right back.
La Tiendita is Harrisburg's premier store for everything Ecuador. In this store, you will find a variety of cultural and traditional products and ingredients like chocolate that you can't find anywhere else in Harrisburg. La Tiendita also ships packages directly to Ecuador. If you have any family or friend, you can also do a direct money wire transfer to their bank account in Ecuador. La Tiendita is open every morning at 8:30 a.m. and you can find them at 3126 Sycamore Street right here in Harrisburg.
Welcome back to the Black News Beat. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. We are back with our first and very great guest. We have Miss Ausha Green.
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
Okay, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation. I'm doing pretty good. I'm enjoying the weather. So
Finally, it's warm.
yes, it's warming up
Oh my
quickly,
goodness.
but
Finally.
it's here.
I don't know about quickly. My birthday's on Friday.
It's supposed to be like 80 tomorrow, so I think that transition was quick. But I'm ready to start gardening.
Oh, are you?
I love gardening.
Do you
I've already
garden?
started germinating some seeds. I'm ready.
Really?
Yes. Mhm.
Well, maybe you and Basir can talk because he's trying to grow some crops and stuff for the fall. Miss Rafika has been getting him some crops and stuff that hopefully like corn and other things.
Okay.
Y'all should chit chat.
We definitely should. I've got a group of young men that I'm teaching how to garden as well. So trying to get the youth involved. Let's start growing our own food or at least know how to do it.
You're absolutely right. I have a very brown thumb, not just my skin color. I can't grow things. All right. So welcome to the show. We know that you have been on city council for some time, and you are right now the vice president of council,
Yes.
and you are the chair of budget and finance. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Wow, wow. So how have you ensured that the city's budget reflects, we always talk about the budget being a moral document, right? We talk about budgets being a moral document. We've, full disclosure, we have organized about and around the budget as well. So tell me, as the chair of this committee, how have you ensured that the city's budget reflects the needs of Harrisburg residents, particularly our marginalized communities?
So step one is talking to people, getting out and actually talking to the residents. It doesn't always have to be a formalized setting. Explaining to people, especially our youth, what's going on. Our youth seems to be an untouched population that a lot of people seem to forget until something bad happens, until it's gun violence. And it's like, what are we doing with the kids? Well, step one, stop kicking them out of programs at 13, telling them they're too old. When they go to play on the playground and they're 15, go do something else. That's not appropriate. What they're supposed to do other than get in trouble. They can't start high school sports until they get to 14, 15 years old. They can't get a job until that age. So what are we doing to teach our kids and bring them in as a part of the process? Also listen to the segments that you and YPOC put on. That kind of gets the community engaged, lets them know what's going on, what the actual process is. Try to hold some community town halls throughout the year, so it's not just during budget season, because there are different budgets throughout the year. We've got the CDBG budget, so I'm always trying to reach out to nonprofits, let them know, hey, the time's coming up. When there are county gaming grants and the city needs to be a sponsor, there's a deadline for that. Usually people wait until it's time to apply and the city's deadline's already passed. So it's just informing people of those timelines, letting them know what's going on a regular and consistent basis. So that's what I try to do.
So how long have you been on council now?
I've been on council since 2017.
Wow.
Yes.
And so you'll be entering, what is it, your 7th year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll be entering my
How does that
7th year.
feel?
It feels like I'm making an impact, but I know there's still stuff that needs to be done. So I know my first term, One of the main things I was working on, I was on the police, I was over top of police and public safety. First thing that I did was to make sure we organized a police advisory commission, to make sure we get the city residents' input and know what's going on when there are incidents with the police. So many times they're reported to the police department or to the administration, and as a council member, you don't hear about it until somebody from the public tells you about it. You can't be everywhere at once. After that, when I became the chair of budget and finance, the next step was to make sure we were keeping our fund balance where it needs to be and paying off our debt as quickly as possible. At one point, I felt like they were rushing paying off the debt a little too much and not making sure we have the proper fund balance. So I kind of slowed things up, said, well, what did we spend this year? What are we looking at having left over at the end of the year before we pay this over? Because at the point we're at, we can't borrow. So if we need a fire truck, if there's an HVAC system, if there's anything that we need that's a major cost, we have to pay cash up front. In other words, the city has no credit. And when you have no credit, it's cash on demand. So it's making sure we have that cash on hand if we need to.
Oh, I had no idea that we couldn't borrow.
No, the city cannot borrow. That was part of when we went to Act 47. The city cannot borrow. That's a state requirement. Right now, we have the ICA that oversees the city in some ways to help make sure we're staying on financially the right path. So it's making sure we have the money when we need to do things. Also, when the ARPA money came down, I made sure that we had robust community forums.
Yes.
The administration held their own community forums, but I felt like they didn't get the attendance that I would have liked to see.
Yeah.
And then when we asked for notes of what the residents had said, we couldn't get notes that actually said what people had spoke about at the meetings. So we went back out, we held forums at local churches, at schools, at baseball fields, anywhere we could just to engage the residents, get their input, and redevelop what the ARPA money would be used for. Once that money was allocated, we're waiting for the administration to actually put some of it to use, such as some of our affordable housing. I've been reaching out to the administration, actually talked to the mayor earlier this week, just trying to get an update with what's going on. So I try to make for sure that no matter who's in office, I keep that line of communication. Whether it was Pappenfuse, the prior Mayor Pappenfuse, when he was in office, I would reach out to him and have those conversations, or whether it's Mayor Williams, because I understand that as a member of city council, we have to have that certain level of communication because we're all supposed to have the same goal of moving the city forward.
Absolutely.
So we can't let egos get in the way.
And we did, YPSC also organized around the CLEAC when you were
Yes.
doing it in 2020 as well.
Yes, and the comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive
I was on
plan.
the planning commission and read the comprehensive plan front and back twice,
Absolutely, twice.
line for line, to make sure everything that the residents had input was actually in there.
Absolutely right. And you guys did accept a lot of our amendments too,
Mhm.
that we did that year for the CLEAC, the amendments, but not for the comprehensive plan, which is another story. But not something I think. It's something I think we can revisit at another time.
Definitely.
Let's go to economic development, because I know that's something that you also, as the budget and finance chair, it may not be your direct committee, but something that also matters to you.
Yes.
So what initiatives have you championed to promote economic growth and job creation in Harrisburg? And how do you plan to build on these efforts if reelected?
So one of the things that I try to make sure we do is anytime something comes before council, it's asking, what is the local participation? How are we using local residents and local businesses to help this move forward, to keep the money here in Harrisburg? Also, I supported giving grants to our small businesses to make sure they could make it through the pandemic. Another thing that I'm really pushing right now, and I'm working with the administration because they are over top of it, is to create a real community and economic development plan. It's hard for the city to plan for the future when we don't have a plan at all. Right now, what's happening is as developers come in, spot plans are being done, but that means we're letting our developers lead the pathway. We can't create the growth we want if we never think about it, right? It's something that I've asked for 2 years in a row during budget season. Like, hey, where's our community economic development plan? We have an entire department for it. First time we kind of got a big document that didn't really tell us a lot as far as what Harrisburg would do. And then the second time they took the document back. And so what happened is they created a community economic development plan work group. And I assigned myself to it because I'm very passionate about it. So I've been reaching out to our business manager, as well as our alert administrator, as well as the director of community economic development and building and housing, just to get this plan moving. I reached out to the ICA today to say, can we sit down and have a conversation? I know a year or so ago, they said they'd be willing to provide some mentoring and even possibly some funding to help us move this forward because they understand this is very important to the city of Harrisburg if we want to make for sure we're on a sustainable path. We've got a lot of buildings, especially in the downtown area, that are being reassessed. And that's dropping our revenue. So we have to make for sure we spur more revenue, right? And what's the best way to do it is to ensure we have walkable city, right? Walkable neighborhoods so that people don't have to go far in order to get their hair done, get their nails done, get groceries, hang out with their friends, have somewhere they can sit down and have a cup of tea and read a book. You should be able to do that in your community, and not just in certain communities. We need that in Allison Hill. We need that in South Harrisburg. Even when talking to a lot of kids, like you said, the main thing they say is it's nothing to do, it's nowhere to go. So let's create those spaces so they can have something to do, somewhere to go. And also some of those small business jobs, like instead of them having to apply to large corporations, they can just walk down the street and get a job at the local business, whether it's a local corner store, whether it's a local, coffee shop or, whatever it is. Let's teach them how there can be jobs in their own community. Something else I'm also working with a group of young people with is creating young entrepreneurs, teaching them how they can make money in their own community legally, right? One of the stories I always tell them is, a lot of them live in South Harrisburg. And I go, there's a guy who comes out there every summer and sells cotton candy to you. He's coming from outside of your neighborhood, making money off of your neighborhood. Yes. You can do that exact same thing. You can go over to Philadelphia Pretzel Factory, spend $20, get 50 pretzels, and come sell them. You can sell them during a parade. You can sell them during the festivals. This is a legit way to start your own business. Get that spark going. You can cut grass. You can sell ices. When I grew up, it was always an icy lady on every block. 25, 50 cents, you can get you a cup of frozen Kool-Aid, and it was the best thing in the world. Now we don't have those, but that's a business that our young people could run. It doesn't take a lot of capital, some sugar, some Kool-Aid, and some water. And, Capital Region gives us some good water. So we that's a savings right there. Mix that, put it in your freezer. You've got a business right out your front door. So make a name for yourself in a positive way. You make a business for yourself in a positive way. So I think it's really just like investing in our communities, investing in our youth, and being the people to give them those ideas. They're kids. They don't know. You're not born knowing, hey, this is how you start a business. So it's teaching them the basics of getting that idea, having that hustle that's legit. Yes. And then from there, once you've sparked that interest, start teaching them how to write a business plan. Start teaching them how to get some of that outside funding, whether they need to get loans to, buy buildings for capital. But so many of them think that you got to have this large amount of money to get started. There are business opportunities in your own community. There's websites called, Printify, that if you're an artistic person, you can design the shirt, go on the website, they will handle capital, they'll handle shipping, everything. Yeah. You literally just advertise it and sell it to the people and you make money off of it. These are opportunities. It doesn't take a lot of work, but if they don't know, how can they do better? So, I think I answered the question.
Yes, you did. Very comprehensive answer, and I think you have to start with the youth in particular in our city, because they are, if you nurture your youth, you have this ever flowing fountain of opportunity that you're teaching people how to develop too. Because a lot of our youth want to leave. They want to get out of here.
Yes.
And Basir, we think it's such a great city. And so do the rest of us. That's why we have YPOC. That's why we have these things. And we want to, you walking through, doing canvassing, walking through the city, seeing how beautiful the city is.
Yes.
Hearing the needs and concerns of residents. I just know we can do better, Okay, next question. Community engagement. How do you engage with constituents to ensure their voices are heard, especially when council has to make decisions, right? Can you provide an example of how community feedback has influenced your policymaking?
All right. So first thing I do is I put myself out there. I don't always put myself out there as, hello, I'm Councilwoman Ausha Green. I think that's a little too formal. I talk to people the way I'm talking to you, the way I talk to my colleagues, anybody. We're having a conversation. I'll just bring it up out of random, like, hey, did you know this is going on in the city? Yeah. Did you know this piece of legislation is coming up? I heard you complaining about this. Well, let me tell you a little bit of something, right? Also, when there are certain things coming up, I literally have gotten out there in grassroots efforts the same way you'll see me door knocking, handing out these pieces of literature. I've literally door knocked and handed out flyers. Hey, we've got this town hall coming up. This is going to be the topic of it. We've got this going on. I really would like your input. And as people talk to me, it gives me different perspectives. And then even if they don't show up to the meeting, we've had that conversation. And now I can take that input and put it in. People sending me emails, people call my phone, people stop me at the market, people show up at my front door sometimes. But I understand all that's part of the job because everything doesn't have to be formal. Everything doesn't have to be, well, if you show up to the meeting at 5:30 for caucus and then 6 o'clock for the actual meeting, then we'll hear what you have to say. No, I can listen to you right now. In the same way, if I'm out campaigning, I'm going to listen to you, right? So a lot of people take the role and then feel entitled to it. You know, like they feel like, oh, well, right. And they feel like, well, I'm busy. I don't feel like talking. I'm a little tired. I don't feel. That's kind of what you signed up for. Because what might not be the best time for you might be the best time for them. It might be the time that they're able to catch you, that they feel comfortable. People don't feel comfortable standing at a microphone, giving their name, address, where they live at, and then telling their problem. It definitely is intimidating. And so it's a lot of people that it turns off. I also tell people all the time, you can email in your comments. You could text me your comments. You know, I've gotten Facebook messages with, you know, I don't like this idea, or, you know, this is what I want to see happen. And I appreciate all of that because it gives me a different perspective so that I can represent the residents of Harrisburg. So putting yourself out there, being open. I give people my phone number all the time. My business card has my actual cell phone on it, not a business cell phone, not a campaign cell phone, but like the same number my mom called is the same number you're going to get because I think that's important.
Absolutely right. And so, thank you for those great answers. Is there anything that you tell us tell people why they should vote for you and how they can get in contact with you?
All right. I'm asking you for your support on May 20th because I know there's work still to be done in the city of Harrisburg. I am determined to make sure we move our economy forward and our communities forward. As we work to build an economic development plan, it's going to impact our zoning code. It's going to impact our comprehensive plan. It's going to impact whether you have a park in your neighborhood or whether you have a bar in your neighborhood. All those things are impacted by the plans we make today. And it doesn't just impact today, it impacts 20 years down the road. If you look at the plans that were put in place for a lot of this development that you see going on now, they were put in place back when Reed was in office, and they're just coming to fruition. When federal money is doled out, it's because the plan was put in place 20 years ago, not because somebody thought of the idea today. So in order to be a part of that future of Harrisburg, we need to make sure we're all working together to build it forward and making sure we actually have plans so that people can't just come in and do it for us. So I'm asking for your support on May 20th to keep moving Harrisburg forward and be a voice for all the residents.
Absolutely. Ausha Green, everyone. And thank you again for coming. And I know you have to go soon, so good luck on the run. And we'll be right back with our next guest. We'll see you right after this break.
Calling all members of the greater Harrisburg community. We need you. We would love for you to join the YPOC and become a part of our leadership team. Would you like to join our board and get great perks and access in the community? Think about it and let us know. We'd love for you to contact us as soon as possible if you are ready. You can email us at info@ypoc-hbg.org.
And we are back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I hope you enjoyed that first interview. And we are now here with one of our city council candidates, Mr. Rick Sanders. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Hey, I appreciate the invite.
Of course. So is this your first time running for office?
Yes, it is.
How is that?
It's different. It's a challenge, but I'm up for the task.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So let's talk about your campaign. Tell us, tell us some of your tenets of your campaign and why you are running for office.
Okay. I decided to make this step simply because I actually care.
Yeah.
A lot of people downplay, Harrisburg as any ordinary other city, but in all reality, this is the capital. And my vision of the capital means that it should be a place where everyone outside of here wants to come visit.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems that, I think myself and talking to other people around the city feel the same way.
Right.
Another reason why I decided to run, to make a difference is because, again, I'm not part of the machine. I'm a resident. So there's a lot of issues that people talk about on a daily basis that I personally live with myself every day. They talk about blight. There's two, burn up buildings across the street from my house.
Wow.
They talk about abandoned lots. There's one up at the corner from my house. It looks like a forest just about every couple months before someone has to come out and cut it. So there's many different issues that a lot of people around the city are complaining about and that they stress about. And I too can feel their pain because I live with it myself.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And how have your experiences not just shaped your vision for Harrisburg, but as a potential city council member, how do you think they will shape how you legislate on council?
Well, going out here meeting people during the petition process, and as I'm out here in the streets now, knocking on doors, giving out my literature and things, I pretty much assure people and I let them know I'm going to be the voice that for you. I'm going to be the voice that no one wants to hear or has heard. I guarantee if you tell me your concerns, I'm going to bring it to the table. We may not be able to act upon it today, but I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to reach back out to you and say, hey, I brought it to the table. This is what's going on. Next go around, I'm going to bring it up again. I'm going to keep bringing up your concerns until we get some type of action on it.
Got it. And so a big concern in the city, and I'm going to move to the topics that I know are hot issues for Harrisburg residents.
Right.
So one of those is public safety.
Right.
What are your strategies for improving public safety in Harrisburg, and how do you plan to address concerns about policing and community relations as a city council member?
Well, right about now, especially going through this whole process, there's two different narratives. There's one narrative that we're losing officers because there wasn't enough money in the budget. Mm-hmm. And then there's another narrative that, we're just not training our officers properly.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm a firm believer that, Harrisburg is completely diverse. I think we're about 53% of Black folks, another 20-some% of Latino, and then the balance. So we need more officers that look like us in our communities, because you can bring anyone in and outside from the city, but if they don't understand our cultures and different things like that, they can't relate. And, I've heard that they implemented more training for officers and things like that, and I applaud that. But I think we have to take it another step further, because nowadays, when I was younger, you didn't hear that term mental illness the way you do today. And it seems like so many actions and things that go on are triggered by people that have mental illnesses. And our police across the country, many of them are not trained to deal with that. And there's many ways that I believe, law enforcement can de-escalate the situation rather than be real quick to use excessive force. So, I'm a big thing on that. We have too much gun violence, and these young kids just don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, the young kids got to also understand there's no guns in prison. So if you want to walk around the streets thinking that you're somebody because you have a gun, think about what's going to come after the fact. Either you're going to leave your parents by having a funeral, or you're going to leave your parents by sitting in prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So we have to educate and more or less wake up our young people so they understand that the streets isn't built for everybody.
Right.
And us as a collective in the city, we need to all put our heads together and come up with other alternatives. Okay, so I mean, people can go play sports, that's all well and good. But we should have other, means of maybe training these young kids to learn different skill sets.
Yes.
Carpentry, electricians, plumbing. I mean, the city, everywhere you go, they need somebody like that. You know what I mean? So why not learn at a young age?
A shortage.
Exactly.
For these kinds of things in the region: plumbers, electricians, people who know how to do woodworking.
Yeah.
Plumbing.
And when I was younger in school, we had the Votech schools.
Yes.
So you could go learn the trade.
Exactly.
But now they don't have it. That based on my knowledge, they don't have it.
We don't have it.
So
They've been fighting about what to do with William Penn for how long? Last year, 20 years?
yeah, so why not make an investment and bring back the Votech schools
That's right.
and get these kids out of the streets?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And now on to another hot button topic for the city: affordable housing.
Right.
Housing affordability is a pressure issue in Harrisburg. It has been, we have helped through YPOC and through personal means, a lot of people who've been kicked out of homes been condemned, dealing with landlords that are out of town who don't take care of the properties, to rising costs for the landlords who are here, for rising home costs. I mean, you name it. So it's a real big pressure issue for us.
Right.
What policies would you advocate for to ensure access to affordable housing for all residents?
I think number one, what we have to do is we have to put more pressure on the people that actually own the properties. For example, before I became a homeowner, I had an apartment right downtown on North Street. I'm not going to say who I rented it from because they're a big name person across the city. However, I mean, I'm a person, I don't get cold much.
I think I know who it is.
Okay. But, winter months came around, I felt a draft. I'm turning my heat up. I'm still cold. I put plastic up at the windows. I'm still cold. And here come to find out that they had a drop ceiling put in and it wasn't insulated.
Oh my God.
So basically, I was getting drafts from the neighbor downstairs from the floor.
Oh, wow.
I reported it to this man and nothing happened. So eventually I had to go. But, it's things like that. Yeah. Just like the one housing property downtown now that they don't have hot water. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
They haven't had it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we got to crack down.
They had no water and no elevator in that building.
Yeah, so I'm a firm believer we need to crack down on the people that own these properties, number one. Mm-hmm. And it even comes down to the ones that are blighted. If you don't want to take care of your property, the city should be able to just seize it from you. And until we seize it from you, we should be able to levy fines against you for not keeping it up or doing what you need to do with it. And then on the flip around with that, if the city would seize it, we could always make an investment to some people in the community that have the skill set, and say, okay, we'll auction it off to you at a low price if you could bring it back up to date and everything like that. And if you were to resell it in a certain time frame, so much percentage of that comes back to the city. So it's all about, one hand wash the other, and at the same time, it's for the betterment of the city overall.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you for those great answers. So please tell everyone why they should vote for you and what you plan to bring to the city of Harrisburg and how they can get in contact with you as well.
Okay. Well, I'm all over every social media. I have 2 Facebook pages, Rich Sanders for Harrisburg, city council or just Rich Sanders by itself. I mean, I'm a member of plenty different organizations, so a lot of people in the city know how to contact me via email or cell phone. But you can reach out to me in any means that you can, and I answer all my messages and I'll get back to you. But on May 20th, I'm just coming to you as being one of you, and I'm just saying I will be that voice for all of you, including myself. I will be the voice at the table so we can get things done that we've been tired of being sick and tired about. So on May 20th, I'm asking for your vote. Rich Sanders for City Council.
Thank you so much, Rich. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Great job. And we will, thank you guys, thank you audience for hanging in there, and we will be right back with our next guest. See you.
Okay.
Call 911. I'm just gonna apply some pressure, okay?
When minutes matter, you have the power to save a life. Learn more at Minutes Matter.
Leslie Avila just published her book, Journey to Freedom, and states, if you love women, read this book. And if you hate women, read this book as well. Have you ever seen such eyes? These eyes so wise, these eyes that mesmerize. You're invited to grab a cup of delicious, delightful hot tea while you read this book in order to enjoy to its maximum capacity. Welcome to my delightful world. I invite you to leave your world behind and step into mine for just a period of time. This book was written for you. You can purchase it now at delightisfull.com.
I don't know if that was.
Oh, yeah, okay. Welcome back. We are here with our last guest. We will reschedule our other guests that couldn't make it, but we're here with Mr. Robert Lawson. How are you?
You're great. Thank you.
Good to see you.
It's great to see you as well. Yeah, great to be back here. I love this show. I just think it's a gem for our community that you present this show. You have it out here. We meet a lot of great, interesting guests. Last time I was here, I heard the best singing I think I ever heard in my life. So this is something that you do that's really great for our community. Thank you
Very much for saying that. So I have questions, as I usually do. So you were a former appointed council member, and you are running again. You were appointed to City Council in 2023, but we did not win that election that year.
No.
And so, what did you learn from that experience, and how has it shaped your approach to running again?
Okay. So I learned a few things. First, when being on council, you start learning that the job is not always what you think it is when you're not in there.
Yeah,
You hear of a lot of like nefarious forces, but you don't really see that. But you find out that mostly the job is taking care of your neighbors. People come to you, they have an issue, and they're having a problem, and they don't know who to talk to. And sometimes it's just a phone call to say, hey, can you help this person out? Because they have one was a basketball court that was put in like front of someone's house, and they could never park there. And every kid came to play basketball, and the basketballs were bouncing off the hoop and onto their car. And it was just like, can you get someone to come move this hoop?
Right.
That's part of the job. But every now and again, you do get to do something consequential that's going to affect the city long term. And when we talked about things such as like trying to work towards some of these plans or the budget, making sure that we put our priorities in place and making sure that we get citizen input too. Many times people feel that they're being talked over. We want to make sure they're being talked to and getting It's
Testing 1, 2. Oh, Lord.
I ain't talking about parking downtown. Did you get the ticket?
I can hear myself now. Okay, we're good. So we're gonna have to run a couple questions back. Is that okay?
Okay.
So we apologize for the inconvenience there. We'll do some talking again, do some more talking. All right. So do you know where we cut off, or was it the whole thing? Second question. Building trust. Tell us a little bit. Recap your answer on building trust for the community as a city council member when people don't really believe in
Right.
government.
So if we're going to build trust with people, we have to talk to them, and we have to treat them as people. They're not constituents. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. They're our family members. And we have to let them know that we are individuals that are living in this city as well.
Yeah.
Many times people that are elected, they start to go into these glass towers, and you can't really reach them. You can't really talk to them. And what I found is the most of these people are just people, but they're not letting the people that are around them know that they're just people. We have to be accessible. We have to be able to talk to you and say, hey, I understand what you're saying. I went to the grocery store and I tried to buy eggs and they were expensive for me too. Just whatever is happening out there, we have to let people know that we feel what's affecting their lives. And that's just something that everyone needs to do from every level of government. And that's what I think I would do with any person in the Harrisburg city that says, hey, this is happening to me. This landlord did this to me, or I got a ticket for parking downtown because I was 10 minutes late. Someone says I had a boot.
Parking is, so I've seen more boots too. I saw boots along the museum corridor, on 3rd Street, go up and down 3rd Street. I've seen more boots lately. And I'm just gonna say it, I think S&P is a bane to our existence as residents. It sucks. Whoever got us into this 99-year bullshit ass contract with them can go to hell. And how do we deal with parking? How do we deal with this? Because somebody in the audience wanted to know.
Right.
It's a tough. Raina. Shout out to Raina.
And that is a tough one because we are stuck in this lease, but we do have opportunities from time to time where we do get some grace from S&P. And
so if we declare bankruptcy as a city, I should answer this. Can we get out that lease?
I think it might be.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think it might be too late for that.
Sell it. Yeah. Okay.
We're not doing that.
So I just really hate
hey, I get that. And that's why we have to increase revenue in the area. Maybe we can find a way to buy out of that lease early. I don't know.
How much would it cost to buy out that lease?
That's a good question that I do not have the answer to.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
But those are the things that we have to deal with, that every citizen has to deal with, and we have to connect with them on a personal level, as opposed to saying, hey, I'm not going to tell you anything, but I'm going to make a vote.
Yeah.
There may be something that's a touchstone in the community that people are really up in arms about, and we have to be able to come out and talk to them. Like sometimes it's having those public forums where people can come out and speak their mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a matter of sitting down in a coffee shop with somebody who comes through and they say, hey, I'm having this issue.
Yeah.
And talk to them.
So on to the last question. Policy focus. If elected, what's one specific policy or initiative you would prioritize in your first 6 months to make an immediate impact?
All right.
So you talked about, we started talking about our residents who were not citizens.
Right. So the residents who are not citizens, and this is nothing that the city is doing, but they need cover from the city. They need someone to be able to stand in the gap for them, to provide some protection or at least some well-being. We need to, the term is sanctuary city that a lot of people have been using, and I think I've heard something that we may be along those lines, but we have to make it explicit, because right now people are feeling attacked, and it doesn't matter what we said 5 years ago, 10 years ago about this. Right now they need to know that we're not going to help remove their fathers, sisters, brothers, mothers, children, whatever, that we're not doing that. And people who are citizens are being harassed as well.
Yeah.
We have to let them know that we're not doing that to them either. We have to protect every single one of our citizens, whether it's that they're undocumented, documented, whether they fall into that LGBTQ rainbow there. We have to make sure everyone knows that this city is their home and they're safe. We need to proactively let people know what their rights are so that if they do find themselves in a situation that they are in a jam, that they know what their rights are. Being a young black man, I remember being a teenager and being harassed by police, and they would do all sorts of illegal stuff to you because you didn't know your rights.
You know your rights.
And we have to make sure that all of our citizens know their rights so that if they do run across somebody, that they are not being harassed, being absconded, taken away from their family, their home, the only home that many of them ever known. And that's just something that just really has been burning in me the last, well, we'll say since January, but it's become like more and more of
a sharper focus.
a much sharper focus right now.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for answering those questions. Can you, speaking to the camera here, tell folks, what you're going to do for Harrisburg, why they should vote for you, and how they can get in contact with you.
Okay, great. Well, my name's Rob Lawson. I'm running to return to Harrisburg City Council. I'm going to need your vote May 20th. I plan on working with the current council, whoever that may or may be, and other citizens to help advance our city, help make sure that we become prosperous once again. Everyone says there's nothing to do. Everyone says that the city is going down, but I think we have a lot of great people here. We have a lot of great resources, and I believe that our city is really on the precipice to have a rise, but we have to, tell each other that we are there, and we have to convince each other that we're there. A vote for me will mean that I'm going to be that cheerleader who's going to help push the city along. I'm also going to try to make sure that we have tangible results by working to redevelop some of our blighted areas and make sure that we have good affordable housing. And I'm going to work with the gentleman who's working the computer and the camera over there to make sure that we stick to our plan and go through some of his actually very innovative ideas of engaging some of our universities and getting some of that stuff to help make sure that we revive our downtown and keep our city as a destination. So again, May 20th, vote Rob Lawson for Harrisburg City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. We have heard from all the candidates who showed up tonight, so we will be right back with Last Lap. Everybody get out of here. Thank you, and we'll see you in a second.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, hello. My head's cut off a little bit, but it's okay because my boobs look nice. Thank you. Now it's time for Last Lap. All right, who's ready for a little more election trivia? Are we ready for election trivia? All right. First of all, I want to tell you guys that I'm so proud of you all for sticking with this, for being involved. Shout out to the candidates for running. Shout out to y'all for, really being involved in this process. I'm really just happy to know all of you. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Now it's time for some trivia. All right. For all three of you watching online and those of you in the audience, let's do a little trivia. The primary is coming up, and I want you guys to be ready to vote. So for $5, the first person to 3 wins.
So first question, true or false? In Pennsylvania's May primary election, only Democrats and Republicans can vote for candidates on the ballot. Is that true or false? Who says true? Who says false?
You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like life, I'll rise.
I refuse to accept the view that